Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. I have an absolute gem, absolute banger for you guys today. Andrew Wilson, man, this guy has been on a tear. I'm so happy that I was able to interview him. Definitely go and check that out. I think it was an excellent interview. He liked it a lot. Maybe sometime in the future, I'll reach out to him again to get an interview. But I know he's a really busy guy, but he does. Just for what it's worth, I want to say that my interaction with him was very positive. And he absolutely did not have to take the interview. My channel is not massive by any means. And he took it without question and was totally good faith. I've said this on multiple occasions. And I had the free version of Zoom. My thing expired, it timed out, and I lost the interview, and I messaged him and hopped back in, and he was totally willing to continue because the interview was going great. And so, anyways, for what it's worth, just wanted to say that. Today, what I'm going to be reacting to is a discussion on the Pierce Morgan uncensored channel, even though we all know that Pierce Morgan is not uncensored. But I will say his new channel is or platform is not as bad as he once was, but he definitely is one of those chameleon types that kind of goes where the pendulum is swinging. A lot of right wing figures want to um, grab a hold of him and really just be super proud that he is moving towards the right, so to speak, and open to those ideas, which is pure and utter nonsense for what it's worth. Um, so, but in this episode, it was reacting to a recent Netflix show called Adolescence, I believe it is, which very much details the lives of young boys and into their adulthood and kind of the mentality that they're taking on, and it's very much biased in the response of the parents of the show, and kind of the message that it is trying to portray. And so, anyways, what we're going to be reacting to today is specifically Tomi Lahren, covert feminist, and Andrew Wilson getting into a nice, heated discussion on what masculinity is. And I have done a video in the past on Tomi Lahren, aka Tomi Lahren, for her infamous Facebook Live. There are no real men out there. She was talking in discussion with her dating prospects and the men that she dates and how they're all little boys, and they're not open and honest and transparent, which I could definitely bring back up again because that in and of itself was juicy. But I'm not going to. I'm going to keep this video focused. It's important insofar as it's a track record for Tomi, and she has not changed, not one fucking bit. And it just, the right wing really has a problem with these right wing tradcon women who purport to be traditional conservative minded women when they are simply not. They are indeed covert feminists masquerading and simultaneously in one fell swoop receiving the benefits of feminism and advocating for the benefits of feminism when it suits them, while also advocating for the benefits of a traditional man and traditionalism when it benefits them. Now, in fairness to Tomi, there is really no such thing anymore as traditionalism. Our society has changed so much that it's it's basically impossible to be fully traditional, and we have, especially modern women, have been so inundated with feminism that it is impossible for them to not have at least a little bit within them, even when they don't realize it. And that is why I need to make like a playlist or a series of me exposing these fake TradCon girls because, or women rather, because it's such a massive pattern and they need to be exposed. It needs to be pointed out. Their inconsistencies, and most of the time, like I said, they don't realize it. I've done a video on Sydney Watson. Um, the girl that used to be on InfoWars, she had a famous back and forth with Andrew Wilson. She's blonde haired. I'm blanking on her name right now. Lily something, Lily whatever. Let's see. I have talked about Brett Cooper. Roma Army. She's like a red pill girl with tattoos. There's been many girls that I have done these videos on discussing this topic, and in my estimation, it's really important. So, without further ado, let's dive into this. Before we do, I want to ask you guys to consider hitting that subscribe button. Just fucking tap that thing. Don't mess around. Don't play around. Um, so you guys can continue receiving this banger content, ballin' content. Man, I was like, this is awesome. You know, sometimes when you make content, you can really have a dry spell. And then out of nowhere, you wake up and you have something like this, you know, and you realize in that moment you have to make a video on it. So here we go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that so I watched the show and it just goes through a typical feminine view, right? So all of these things are always through the prism of the feminine. So young boys, they don't do well in school. They don't do well in school because it's all programmed for the feminine. Stay still, fold your hands, right? Be quiet. Boys are rambunctious. They like to beat each other up. They like to be mischievous. They like to break things. They like to do that kind of stuff. There's no outlet for them to do that stuff. Their teachers are all women, right? There's basically all masculinity is now considered toxic. Basically
Which is this is absolutely true. A majority of females are teachers now. Men don't want to touch being a teacher. Nope. They don't want to be a teacher, touch being a teacher with a 10-foot pole. This is why, and Rollo Tomasi has detailed this. This is why you're seeing more and more and more female teachers having relations with young male students, because part of it is simply because they are overwhelmingly the represented group when it comes to teaching. It has become such a gynocentric space that men want nothing to do with it. And just in general, um, this is what you get in a gynocentric society. A gynocentric society is not a society that is a matriarch. Those are two different things. Now, you can have a gynocentric society alongside a matriarch, um, but that's much harder to do because men do have the monopoly on force. And men would basically have to allow that to be the case. And so, if they are allowing such thing, then how can you really have a matriarch if the other gender is, or sex rather, is allowing for that to be the case? That's why when women say, "I'm going to allow my man to lead," is he really the leader if you're allowing him to lead? Who's really the leader there? But a gynocentric society is a society where everything is coming from the feminine point of view, the female point of view and prism.
all of it. The same women who are getting their double shot of espresso on the way over to the school they're about to teach at, they're 24 years old. Sometimes they're banging their own students, right? Hilarious
Here, hold on, guys. I had to reset it real quick because my computer is freezing,
to
unfortunately.
break things. They like to do that kind of stuff. There's no outlet for them to do that stuff. Their teachers are all women, right? There's basically all masculinity is now considered toxic, basically all of it. The same women who are getting their double shot of espresso on the way over to the school they're about to teach at, they're 24 years old. Sometimes they're banging their own students, right? Hilariously enough. And then these people go out to parliament.
True.
The same women go to parliament. They
Did I
vote
not just
to
say
send
that?
men off to war to stab each other in the face with bayonets. And you're concerned about toxic masculinity. It cracks me up. It's like the brutal savagery of men is a necessary precondition for society to exist. And we just kind of pretend like it's not. And this show should actually be an indictment on the feminine rather than the masculine, because basically masculinity is just punished everywhere all the time, nonstop. It's no wonder guys like Andrew Tate get so famous in these spaces. I mean, what's the alternative? The alternative is everything must be feminine, tone policing, nonsense like this. It's ridiculous.
All right, James Barr, you were laughing, but I don't think.
Boom! Absolutely killer response there. I need to get some sounds like they have on the Fresh and Fit. So, brother, brother, Don DeMarco. Well, really well said. And another aspect to this, of course, is and again, privilege is invisible to those that have it by and large. I don't love to use that phrase because a lot of times people do it with regards to race when it comes to being white and the quote unquote privilege of being white. But as far as the concept goes, I understand, and sometimes it is accurate. And women simply do not realize the privilege that they have by and large. And you have a situation where we're in the West, and it's being promoted to have this equal society where men and women are interchangeable sexes and widgets. Anything you can do, I can do better type situation. Meanwhile, women don't have to register for selective services for the draft, but they can also simultaneously vote to send men off to war. It's absolutely insane. So again, we don't have true equality. Women have all the privileges in society while simultaneously being able to play the victim at every turn.
I don't think you'd enjoy what you're hearing.
No, I mean, I don't think you've seen the show. Episode 2 is shot entirely in a school. I didn't see one of the female teachers drinking a double shot of espresso at all. None of the teachers were flirting with students. There were male teachers as well. I don't think you're describing the show here. I think you're describing your own insecurities or agenda.
Yeah, so this doesn't contend with the argument. Like, you understand that I'm making an argument, an indictment of society itself, based around my ideas that I'm seeing from this show. That's what I'm actually doing. So if you could contend with the fact that male savagery is necessary for the security of a nation, and that women will indeed vote in the future in parliaments to send men off to war to stab each other in the face at 18 years old with bayonets, perhaps you can contend with that before we start, getting into, well, tone policing is actually good and toxic masculinity is actually bad. It's like, I think there needs to be a little bit more toxic masculinity, or what you consider to be toxic masculinity.
Well, great. Good for you.
Nothing.
I'm glad you think
Nothing.
so. No, I mean, I just don't need
nothing.
to argue with that because
You just unlocked. You just unlocked. You got nothing.
You're making up.
You
an
do
agenda
seem
that
unusually
I've not said
muted by
any,
that,
I've not
James.
said anything. I haven't literally said nothing about.
James, you were literally
toxic
rendered
masculinity
silent, like you had no way of responding.
I'll tell you what, you can't argue with a completely illogical argument that had, like, I've not made any of
It's
the
a
comments
logical argument. You may not agree with it.
I've not made any of the
making a very
comments
logical argument.
that you were firing at me. None of those comments are things I've said or believe in.
All right, I want to bring Tomi in, because Tomi, you've got a very interesting perspective here, I think. You've talked about something different. You call it the pussification of men, which is a great phrase. I'd love you to...
Is it any surprise that Tomi Lahren, aka Tomi Lahren, has coined that phrase? And on one hand, I guarantee there are a ton of right-wing men that are like, oh yeah, oh fuck yeah, I'm not one of those pussies. Yeah, masculinity is totally pussinized, and the pussification of America is terrible. And as you guys are about to see, because only these boomer beta losers follow women like Tomi. Now, I'm gonna try not to name call too much here because that's not the best form of argumentation, but I'm merely stating a fact. What you're about to see is why those men have come forth in society, and it is overwhelmingly because of women like Tomi, who absolutely punish men who are strong, who have boundaries, who are steadfast in their beliefs, and true leaders. You're about to see why
Just
men
explain
like
what you
this
mean by that.
dude here, who I believe is a homosexual, exist.
But also, you're not a fan of Andrew Tate or the influence he has. So that makes you, I think, an interesting commentator in this area. So just explain, first of all, the pussification of men.
All right, Piers. Well, I think, and I can't see you all, so forgive me if I'm incorrect here, but I think I'm the only female on this panel,
Correct.
so I'm really anxious to weigh in. Okay, so I think over the last probably 10 years, there has been what I call the pussification of men. It was everything should be about your
I'm the only woman on this panel, so I'm so excited to weigh in with these men.
emotions and your feelings, and men were emasculated, and this whole concept of toxic masculinity warped the minds of a lot of young men. And they felt masculine, they wanted to be masculine, but society was telling them they should be softer, that it was being toxically masculine if you wanted to play sports and chop wood and go to war. And so men were so emasculated and so
Chop wood.
male that doesn't represent true masculinity. That to me represents douchebaggery. And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will warp the minds of a lot of young men. And they felt masculine, they wanted to be masculine, but society was telling them they should be softer, that it was being toxically masculine if you wanted to play sports and chop.
God, who is this dude in the right that's nodding his head? This is what I'm talking about. That's why I did the because this is what I'm talking about. These are the types of guys that don't know any better, that follow and listen to women like Tomi Lahren, because they unfortunately have been brought up in this warped Christian household. It tends to be Protestant household where women are completely pedestalized in a totally unhealthy manner. Okay, and you end up getting men who all they're good for is protecting and providing, but they're not leaders. They have all the responsibility without any of the authority, and that is a huge problem.
Wood and go to war. And so men were so emasculated and so beat down that then there was this revolution of what was actually toxic masculinity, the Tate brothers and others, which I feel as a female that doesn't represent true masculinity.
And also, I can't believe I almost forgot to point this out. Notice how she called the Tate brothers and people like the Tate brothers. And listen, there's been a lot that has come out about the Tate brothers. I have not given a stance one way or the other myself on them because I just don't have the time to look into it. I'll just say this. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of what you're seeing towards them is completely politically motivated. But at the same time, I also don't think, from a Orthodox Christian perspective, that it was right of them to basically make a lot of their money on the backs of weak simp beta men who purchase services from these cam girls and prostitute these cam girls out. I don't love that. But at the same time, two things can be true at once. I do think that they have put forward a very positive message outside of things like that towards men to be strong, to stand their ground, to have ambition, to want to be healthy and shape, and not feel ashamed for their masculine mindset. So, but still, notice how, regardless of how you feel about the Tate brothers, notice how she shames the men in that space and calls it douchebaggery. They're douchebags. And this is what women do. Women, because they don't have the monopoly on force and they cannot get what they want through force, they have to use other means. And usually this is done through manipulation and calling people names and shaming, shame tactics. I've done many videos about women in the workplace, how women will absolutely bring a man down in the workplace that they feel threatened by, or maybe who's not interested in them, or does not give them the attention that they want. They will absolutely emotionally and as far as their reputation, bring them down through shame tactics.
That to me represents douchebaggery. And as a woman, I
There
want
you
a
go.
strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. I see that as being actually masculine. That's like the man that I grew up with, my dad. But what we're seeing now is these young men who look at Andrew Tate and the Tate brothers, and they see somebody who's just quite frankly a douchebag and disrespects women. And because they've been so emasculated, they're like, oh, great, that's a manly man. But that's not right either. So at some point, I think we'll go back to maybe meeting in the middle here. You can be a man who has feelings and emotions, but you can also go to war and protect and defend your family. I'm hoping we can get back there. But the two extremes right now, they're confusing men, and quite frankly, they're leaving women with few choices. And that's the real tragedy here.
You see, I completely agree with you, but Andrew, you were shaking your head quite vigorously. Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminine or feminist nonsense ultimately. And the
Shocker.
covert feminism in society is
Shocker that Pierce Morgan completely agrees with her. Shocker.
big, especially on the conservative side. Feminist nonsense ultimately.
Shaking your head quite vigorously. Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminine or feminist nonsense ultimately. And
is.
the covert feminism in society
Absolutely.
is big, especially on the conservative side. So here's what happens, right? Women need to have feminine virtues for men to be pursuing masculine virtues, for you to say things like, well, men, what I want is for men to protect me and I want men to make money. Well, that's great. What that ends up doing is it gives you a set of privilege in society. What do men get? What do men get for doing that for you? What are we getting from women for doing that? Are we getting chaste virgins on our wedding night? No, we're not getting chaste virgins on our wedding night. Are we getting women of great virtue?
Hell nah, we aren't. Hell nah.
No, we're not getting women of great virtue.
And see, again, this is the double-sided coin of women being able to be modern women when it suits them, go and get in the workplace. They have zero duty to have children and or responsibility to have children, be mothers and teach the younger women behind them how to be feminine and good women. On one hand, they can go ahead and proceed that way, and simultaneously on the well, I almost forgot, they can also sleep around and be a modern woman and be empowered through their sexuality and being ran through because to them in this warped viewpoint, empowering is to act like a man and try to be and do what a man would be able to be and do. But that's the thing, men and women are not the same. God did not make us the same. So simultaneously, they want and expect a traditional man to protect and provide and be chivalrous and kind of have this noble chivalrous mindset in treating a woman like this like a princess. Which is absolutely ridiculous. In no world is somebody like Tomi a fucking princess. Okay, this girl, I guarantee, has a body count higher than probably 15 or 20. In no world should a guy treat her like they would have treated a woman, pre 1900s in their approach to her. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay. There is nothing about her that's traditional. And so it is ridiculous for her to expect traditionalism from a man. This is a woman who is modern in every single way. She's completely been a career gal. She puts her opinions out there. She shames men. She's very much masculine in her tone and how she is very shrewish and shriekish. There is nothing about her that is feminine and traditional. And whoever the guy was that selected her is a fucking idiot, absolute idiot. Way back when I did the video on her, she was coming out of a relationship, and there was a bunch of red pill videos. Rollo Tomasi did a video on her, detailing the breakup, and that guy was absolutely fucking brilliant for leaving her because, again, the juice was not worth the squeeze, and you're simply not getting any benefits dating a girl like this. You're just getting a fucking headache, is what you're getting.
The idea of courtly love is supposed to be done for women of great virtue. Where are they? Well, they're nowhere. And so in modernity, in society, when female conservative influencers say this, it's actually a form of covert feminism. They're saying, I want privilege in society, right? But what is it women are giving to men to get it? What? What are they giving them? Tell me.
Well,
can I please chime in here?
Yes, you can. And then James can, and I'll come to you, Sean.
No, I would love to. I love this whole thing of like, if you're a female conservative and you don't believe that men should be douchebags, that all of a sudden you're a covert feminist. Call me a feminist. I really don't give one crap.
No, that's, and look at this homosexual getting giddy here because he has no idea what's going on. Shocker. Yeah, no, she's not going to contend with anything that Andrew said. She's merely going to argue against her own argument. Just what more can one say about that?
Crap one way or another, but I can tell you this. A lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right that like to think of themselves as these big masculine men, and what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe I'm a woman.
There it is.
Right?
There it is.
Yeah, there's the feminism. Oh, and then you're interrupting me too.
Didn't take long, did it? Didn't take long, did it?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak over me?
Yeah, I don't care if you call me. I don't really care if you call me a
strong,
feminist.
independent woman.
Yeah. Yeah. You're actually interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you when you were spewing your bullshit. So now it's my turn. Okay.
You mean the truth?
Like I said before. So I believe there we go again. Piers, I'm a woman of virtue. I happen to be independently successful. I have a husband who's not only a former professional athlete, but is currently a professional baseball coach.
Sorry, guys. My computer's totally twacking out here. So just bear with me.
So is he not a masculine man? I mean, I'm confused here. What's your concept of a masculine man? Mine is a man who respects me.
Yeah, that misses the point, though. Like, you're still not contending with the argument that I made.
Yeah, she completely didn't contend with anything. She just went on woman prattle, classic woman prattle there, and made a non-argument. To answer her own question, yeah, it is kind of unmasculine for a guy of that caliber to not hold himself in higher esteem and select a woman like you. Yes, that is kind of beta. But unfortunately, even men in traditionally not traditional in the traditional sense, but just in more masculine, physically fit arenas, or any arena where they make money or make good money or whatever the case may be, they might be handsome. Yeah, they can be very much blue-pilled when it comes to intersexual dynamics, because men tend to not have the knowledge on the opposite sex that women have on men. And that's why they absolutely usually get the short end of the bargain. So yes, to answer her question, yes, it is kind of beta that he selected you. 100%. So, and the fact that he's a baseball coach and whatever, being like alpha minded or being like a strong minded man is not just being within sports or being physically fit. It is much more attached to your mindset and how you conduct yourself as a man when people are viewing you, and the decisions that you make within your relationships and things like that. That says far more about you than you being a baseball coach or a former baseball player. Okay, you being able to hit a ball with a bat is not the only masculine thing out there. And women like her are very smart. I guarantee she knows all of this deep down. That she got a man with probably decent genetics. But simultaneously is weak-minded, and she would be able to control in her very much masculine-minded, woman body. So,
what's your point?
I'm saying inside of society, right this second, right? Masculinity is not only punished, but also women on the right, covert feminists on the right, are constantly and consistently talking about how they need to have privilege in society. I want men. Their version of masculinity is men who take care of us, men who protect us, men who do all of this. Those are all duties that men have towards women. Great. What are the duties that women have towards men? What are the duties that women have towards anything? What do men get out of this arrangement? What are we getting out of this arrangement? Can you tell me?
I mean,
I would argue that men innately should be protectors and providers.
Hang on one second. Let Tomi
Most men are born that way.
Let Tomi respond to that, and then I'll come to you, Jez. And then Sean, you've been waiting patiently. So
most men are born to be protectors.
Yeah, aren't women born to be feminine, to be nurturing, to be mothers? I mean, what are we talking about here? Holy shit.
Providers. I can't imagine my dad saying, you know what, to my mom, you know what, I'm not going to be a protector and a provider unless you do this. That's not how real men operate. Real men are protectors and providers, and they marry women who hopefully have
more shame tactics. But simultaneously, she would be okay if her mom said, I'm not going to be with you unless you are a manly protector and provider. And yes, I do agree that being a protector and a provider is they are aspects of being masculine, but they're not the only thing. Okay. If you are a man that is a protector and a provider without authority, then you're not fully masculine. Being masculine is to have authority assigned to your responsibility. And that is the crux of the issue is men have all the responsibility that they once had. Nothing has changed for them without the authority. They no longer have the authority that they once had, but they still have the responsibilities to go to war, to make the money, to protect. And meanwhile, women have been able to shed their responsibility while also simultaneously gaining some authority that they haven't earned. It's fucking ridiculous.
A woman telling us what
but
real
also
men
bring a
are,
lot to the table as well, that are great mothers, great wives, caretakers of the home. There's nothing wrong with being a traditional wife and mother. You're misunderstanding me if you think that I think that women should just be out doing whatever they want. I think that there are gender roles that should be respected. But I don't think a man needs to get something out of it to be a manly man, a protector, and a provider. If you think you need to get something out of it, I quite frankly don't consider you a real man.
Yeah, she had nothing. She had nothing.
But we'll discuss in a moment whether Andrew Wilson is a real man.
Piers, I offer nothing. I offer nothing.
You offer me a lot of things, Tom.
Yeah, you're right. You do offer nothing. You are. There's nothing within a truly feminine role or aspect that you offer. Nothing. All you really offer, I guarantee, to your man is the occasional blowjay or sex, and that's pretty much it. That is what you offer to your man. But he doesn't get a truly feminine woman that has children, that is motherly and nurturing and soft and gentle and kind-hearted.
Yeah, that's why I always love having you on the show. You know that. Let's go to a real.
Oh, also, I saw this on X. She also is a proponent of schmishmortion. She's totally okay with killing men's heirs and babies, which totally says everything about her. Again, she is a feminist. She is not as out in the open as maybe leftist feminist women are, but I have more respect for them being open and honest about it than I do with women like this, because women like this can absolutely infuriate and totally bring a man to heel, because they're able to chameleonize themselves and present as one thing while simultaneously their actions showing quite another. And this is why I always say you need to watch what women do, not listen to what they say. So it is very tough for men to deal with women like this who present as one way and their actions within the relationship say quite another. And it's hard for men to deal with that 100%. So, a man would be better off just dealing with a woman who absolutely says she's a feminist out in the open. So at least you know what you're dealing with.
Man, James Barr.
Thank you. I do see myself as a man, and I know that you were looking at me thinking, well, you're not. You're wearing makeup. You're wearing colourful clothes. Like, look at me, I'm really camp. My nails are painted.
I mean, they are worrying signs.
You're sat there smoking a cigarette. I'd love to get a vape out and start drinking a beer. Pints with the lads. Just connect with you over that. I think that you have some insane opinions on what women are meant to do for you. It's crazy that you don't appreciate that a woman actually gave birth to you. Like, she gave you a womb for 9 months and then looked after you, I would hope, for the beginning of your life. And you're sat.
Isn't it funny that his opinions are closer to Tommy's than Andrew's are?
They're going, what do women owe men?
What does that say?
Women don't owe men anything. No one owes you anything. You have your own
Okay,
life.
do you understand that if you make an argument and you say that
I'd
women are
watch
supposed
your
to be
seminar on how to win an
in
argument.
a position, if women are supposed to be in a position of privilege where men do A, B, C, and D for them, and then I ask, well, what duties do women have? And you say, well, nothing.
No one said
right?
that
And then
men
you wonder,
need.
why are men
Personally,
checking out? I don't know why men are checking out. I don't get it.
You just
That's
sound so
silly, man.
funny.
All right,
That's
let me bring in.
silly
All right, let me bring in the one person who so far hasn't said a word about this, but has a lot of interesting things to say. Sean, welcome to Uncensored. I mean, I think one of the key things of this series that's made it so popular is that anyone who's had young sons knows that and a influence on impressionable young men, and they gravitate to Time's Up campaigns, which were in many ways swung so wildly.
Let's skip
being
through
treated like a bunch
Pierce's
of young hearts
bullshit.
with women, with teenage girls anymore, whatever. They lost their way, and by losing their way, they gravitated, I think, to people, to very loud voices on the internet like Andrew Tate, who I think, like I say, he says a lot of stuff I find myself nodding to, and then he'll say this misogynist stuff, which I just despise it. I see no reason why you should, just pure misogyny. Teenage boys, young men, why they've gravitated to people like Tate. Because I have.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think it's, first of all, we got to understand that we have an amazing responsibility as a parent to lead from the home and to have these open conversations with our young children. All right, whether they're male children, female children, we have to make sure that we're having open door conversations and we are tackling the hard subjects. Because if we don't take care of everything at home, we don't take care of everything in public, like at school, and other forces within society that help raise our children, we always say it takes a village. Well, it certainly does, but it starts at home. And if you cannot have these open conversations and allow your children to be honest and open with how they are feeling about society and the things that they are seeing, they are going to go to misogyny. They're going to go to the Andrew and Tristan Tates of the world, and they're going to learn how to be a man from that. And that is not what society needs.
Yeah.
It's not what the world
And
needs.
why are
That is
they?
not,
Because
that is
they
not masculinity.
aren't
It is
learning what a
masquerading as
man
misogyny.
is.
How do we
guys like you.
protect young men from the easy access at the moment there is to people like Tate? I mean, how do you actually put a ring fence around them so that you can tackle exactly what you've just said, but they're not also being dragged into that world?
It's tough because they're growing up in a world we never grew up in, Piers. We didn't grow up with the internet. We didn't grow up with Bumble,
that's right.
Tinder, Instagram, Facebook.
No, I was taught how to treat women by my mother, my grandmother.
Open the door,
my
right?
Aunts.
Open the
A lot of strong women in my family, very strong women, and they would just take no crap from the men. So that's the environment I grew up in.
Absolutely. So how do we insulate our children from this? By having conversations, putting parameters around the social media aspects of life, and having the conversations at home. Hey, son, hey, daughter, this is what you're going to see out there in the real world. This is what you're going to see on the internet. If you see something like this, that is not how a true man is supposed to act. And hey, that's not how a real man is supposed to treat you.
Right. So
we have to have the conversations.
Yeah. Andrew, do you intrinsically disagree with what you've just heard?
Just a waste of space.
Again, all of this is always the burden on men. Burden on men. Burden on men. Men need to be doing this.
No, it's a family, Andrew. The family.
Hang on.
The family, Andrew.
Men need
husband and wife.
Okay, yeah. So let me back up. Okay. Again, men need to do this. Men need to do that. What I'm talking about is what duties do women have in society? What are the actual women's duties towards men? Everybody is raised from the time they're kids how we're supposed to treat women. We all know how to treat women. We never talk about how men are supposed to be treated. That's almost never discussed, especially by how women are supposed to treat men, what their duties in society are. This has been completely dispelled. Guys like Tate have risen because Christianity itself has become a feminized religion, especially the Protestant sects has become completely feminized. And it didn't used to punish masculinity at all. And now it does. And so where's the alternative? Where's the spiritual alternative? It's nowhere. And we need to get back to this fundamental question of what even is misogyny? Because I don't think that men kicking the crap out of each other, being brutes, insulting each other, hazing each other, even bullying each other is misogyny. Not only do I not think it's misogyny, I think it's perfectly healthy.
Yeah, but I don't think that's misogyny.
Well-adjusted.
Is that the argument?
That is not misogyny.
Well, no, hang on. How women see this is tone
misogyny
policing.
is where you have a hatred or whatever you want to phrase it towards women. It's not about men treating men.
Sorry, toxic masculinity is what I'm referencing here, and toxic masculinity is what they're claiming leads to misogyny. So what I'm talking about is these are all masculine traits. There's nothing wrong with them, right? When you're talking about misogyny itself, I want to know what that even is. Is it just asserting yourself to women, telling women no, telling them no, that's bullshit?
No, I would say it's okay. Let me answer
you. You're saying stupid things.
Andrew Tate says he's quite open about it. Women should stay at home. They shouldn't go out to work. They should do what he tells them. He's the king of the castle in his house. Blah 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 blah. That is misogyny, isn't it? I've got a daughter. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. I don't want her thinking she can never leave the house. She's somebody's chattel.
It's not never leaving the house. Look. It is true that the world would be a better place if we didn't have it inverted and women did have a natural role at home and that was glorified and that there was government propaganda around the nuclear family and keeping women home. Why do you want to outsource the raising of children to strangers instead of your wife? That's a way better society. Why do you want your best and brightest women forced to go to a workplace instead of the best and brightest women staying at home raising their children? That's a way better system. It's always been a better system.
I guess we're talking free.
Boom. All right, I'm gonna end it there. It's much longer. Andrew totally killed it, as he always does. The dude is a rising tide. He's becoming more and more popular as he should be. He's killing it. Tomi Lahren, aka Tomi Lahren, exposed for the feminist she is. There's gonna be plenty of boomer men that get in the comment section saying, "Oh no, she's not a feminist." You know, I don't know what to tell you guys. You guys are a lost cause. Um, at the end of the day, a truly what is truly being masculine is being a leader and to know your purpose and your role within society. Once you are stripped of your authority, you immediately become masculinized, and this is what the whole point of feminism is to strip the authority from men, in order to break down the nuclear family, in order to carve a space out in which women can, of course, assert themselves within said society. And this is why masculine men are shamed, so that as soon as they start leaning into their natural tendencies, they're brought back down. They're brought back down to heel. And no, women should absolutely not be telling men what masculinity is, like Tomi Lahren. And what men need to do is to start telling women, like Tommy, hey, this is what being feminine really is. And you'd be much better off if you got off the internet, if you completely served your husband and started to begin your family and have kids and whatnot, and stop with this nonsense with your bullshit career. They'd be much better off. She'd be much better off. So this is the thing, guys. We are really making a dent in the system. We are exposing things, and we need to continue to do so and wake people up to this. You should not feel ashamed as a man to fulfill your natural tendencies. God gave us our essence for a reason. Okay. And I have found trusting that essence usually goes a long way. And women like Tommy want to shame that essence. They want to tone police. They want this, make believe perfect median of not too masculine, but just the right masculine, but just my masculine, which is absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. And again, what this boils down to is modern women wanting all the benefits of feminism while simultaneously receiving the benefits of a traditional man, and only men have to stay within the purview of a protector and provider within the traditional concept, and pedestalize women. But the thing is, women are not what they used to be. Okay. Have you ever heard of hoflation? You have to become way more nowadays to get a woman that is way less than women of old, who were virgins, who were more feminine, who were more soft, more gentle, more nurturing. And that's a sad state of affairs, and this is ultimately what Andrew is talking about, is men having all the responsibility while also simultaneously being stripped of the authority, and women like Tomi Lahren gaslighting masculine men from taking their rightful place within society as a whole. The bottom line is, if we had a patriarchal society, if we had a overwhelmingly masculine society, we would not be living in the hellhole, degenerate society that we live in today. And it's no surprise that somebody like Tommy is for Schmishmortion. All right, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment. Y'all know the drill. Share the video. I really appreciate it for those of you who do that. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy with all facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. It's funny because the channel that or the network she's on, Clay Travis, he also says the same thing, facts over feelings, or no, he says DBAP. So it's funny that I'm doing it on this video, but I digress. And Christ is King. I will see you kings next time. Peace.